God. So if we are talking about men and boys, I want to give 4 things that are true of men, should be true of men. Number 1, God created us stronger than women. On average, they do not allow in the Olympic that boys and girls race together. Am I right? Do you know why? Because it is scientifically proven that men are stronger than women. But you know, it's been repeated so many times, whatever man can do, a woman can do even, which is actual nonsense. Spoken by very clever people. You find a whole professor repeating, whatever man can do, God created, did not create women to do what men can. It was never. Now, I know there are some boys, small boys, so be careful what I'm saying. But let's start it. Have you ever heard of a woman who impregnated somebody? Is it that it's difficult or is it impossible? So, and yet people keep repeating, whatever man can do, and he can even do it better. It's nonsense. And because men are intimidated, we don't correct them. We just, exactly like you, I'm sure you have heard it repeated many times. Have you ever heard anybody complaining? So, and you know, when you repeat something that is nonsense, finally it's accepted as good. I am here in this meeting to tell you, boys, are you listening?
Yes.
God created you different from women. And you should be a man and proud to be a man. Because he created you stronger. Number 2, because he created you stronger, he expects you to work harder to provide for the family. And unfortunately, we are currently getting many men, especially people below 40, who are allowing their wives to be the providers and they themselves just enjoy. You find a young man get a job, when the boss annoys him, he just leaves the job. Then sits at home for the wife to be the one providing. Have you heard of such cases? Have you heard of such cases? That we are here to tell you, young men. It is totally wrong. God did not give you more strength so that you sit to watch TV. And then your wife is busy. And then what is worse is, she is busy throughout the day, she comes home and you tell her, give me ugali. You never produce any money for making ugali. Are we together? So it needs to be understood, if you are a man, that you must use your strength to be the provider. Thirdly, God created man and gave him the ability to be the seed for creation. If you remove men, that's the end of creation. And the reason he did that is that because so that men can be fathers and procreate. The trouble is, we are getting boys who are refusing to marry. So they are just there. But God's intention is men would become fathers. So that it is actually totally wrong for boys who sleep around with girls, they get pregnant, you run away. Where do you run away to? To hell. Because obviously, the moment you have done that, God will be unhappy with you. You are certainly sure your destiny is, what is your destiny? Hell. So I came to tell you as young men that you must understand the intention of God was that you'd become a father, and as a father, you'd responsibly bring up your children. And in such a way that the next generation will be some people that are responsible. That's what you mean when you talk about a man. Fourthly, God created us men to be the leaders of our families. Unfortunately, we have allowed women to lead us. The moment the woman is the one working and you are sitting at home, initially it sounds like okay, but even you will be embarrassed within no time when she says our son should go to Turi Boys. And you say, no, Turi is not good. Says when you have money, now you influence that. For now, because I'm the one with money, my son is going to Turi. You end up with your leadership role actually destroyed. But those are 4 things that God intended for men and to be important, you understand. So when you say man becomes a leader, he is a leader in terms of being a husband, he is a leader in terms of being a father, and he is a leader in every aspect, and even in church. The intention is that men would be the leaders. And those are 4 things that are all being challenged. And we came here as men and boys to remind ourselves that God's intention is that we would do it. However, I want to very quickly mention one of the things that we need to correct ourselves on is to say that mwanaume ni, what do I hear men say? Mwanaume ni nini? Okay, pesa. Now that is not right. Because it doesn't mean that if you have done your best, and your best is not a lot of money, you are still a man. Am I communicating? Yes. If your wife is earning a higher salary than you are still a man. Because you are having a current problem that because of the women's affirmative action, if you have a boy and a girl as your children, there are great possibilities that girl will end up earning more than the boy. Not because the boy is not hardworking, but because of sociological factors that are making girls actually, and there are several. Number one, because of us neglecting the boy child, they're ending up in drugs, they're ending up not doing as well exams. Girls' schools are doing better than boys' school. Have you heard of that? And that's become the problem. Because if the boy doesn't do well in school, it will be difficult for him to earn more than the girl who did well. Are we together? So the problem starts very early. Let me tell you the second problem. Is that the affirmative action are trying to check in this organization, do we have more than 1/3 women? And because women originally were not many, when you apply for a job, the employers want to employ women in order to fill the fraction. Okay, getting the point? And so it means that you can end up with the boys who are not getting, it's not that they are not working hard, but they are not getting the opportunities like the girl. And it's worse when they now come to promotion. Because the top leadership, generally speaking, is men. And because we want to make the company have women, it means we are looking from below girls. So if a girl and a boy are equal, performing well, the girl will get a promotion in order to fill up the vacancy. So we can't sit here thinking that boys will not have problems. Despite all the 4 things I said, there will be boys who do not earn as much as women. Not because they don't work hard, but because of those sociological issues. And that's why, having taught the girl that the work of providing is for men, and because they are the leader, they want to provide more. Many women take their salary as their own money. I heard somebody singing that your money is our money, but my money is my money. The more we are together. Now, and that is an unbiblical singing. Am I communicating? So that the man's money is the family's money, but the woman's money is her personal money. It's not biblical. And it's wrong. So I thought with this opportunity, because I've had, in the recent past, I've had to counsel many families that are breaking up. And the major reason for breaking up is because the women are earning more than men. And when that happens, very few families are surviving. I still remember not too long ago speaking in a couples retreat. And I had not been given that topic. But during break time, a lady came to me. These are people that their dad is 40s, came to me and said, Mr. Nganga, there's a topic you're not covering. Are you aware, when you see these ladies, these are professional ladies, most of us earn more than our husbands. And it's bringing a lot of challenges within our marriage. And that's when I started thinking, we must start talking to our boys. We must talk to them. Because I believe the reason why the marriages are breaking are threefold. Number one, we taught the women that they are not to provide. That it is the man to provide. She therefore makes the man look like he is not a man because he is earning more than. But I told you 4 different things about men, isn't it? Yes. Money is only one of them. Am I right? Yes. So how can a woman start thinking you are not a man because you are earning more? And that's something you have to deal with. So the part of the problem is not the men, it's the women who respect you, who you got married, who are very happy with you. Then, after you start to come out the last day, you earn it together, then they earn, one of them told me the wife earns double his salary. They left university together, but by now he's earning double the salary. And he says, I've done my best, I'm a professional, but she has had opportunities I didn't get. Now, if that woman was trained by the mother and the father, that it's the work of boys to provide, can you see her? She'll have problems respecting her husband. Am I right? And the mistake is not her mistake. It is it was theirs here who taught their daughter the wrong thing. You never told your daughter that according to the scriptures, both of them are to work. Adam was to work, he was to be assisted by, so both of them were working. And even in our African culture, there never was a time when women were doing no work. When the man looked after the sheep and the cows, the cultivation was done by women. So this idea that the woman's things are not to help the family is a new idea. It's not cultural and it's not biblical. We must teach our daughters that God can provide through either the man or the woman. The only thing is, if the wife is earning more, it must be because the husband has done his best, but God's favor has not been on him. It's not laziness. I am not defending laziness of men. I'm talking about when it turns out. So that's the first thing that's causing marriage breakages. The idea that the wife believes you are not a man because she has more than you. So, and that can be quite a problem. But the second problem that's related with that is men. You were taught by your father that you are the provider. So when your wife earns more, you already suffer from something I call insecurity. You feel insecure. So you come home and your wife tells you, can you pass that cup for me? And you think it's because she's earning more. It was innocent. She was simply asking you to pass the cup. But you start, because you are insecure inside yourself, you are annoyed. You cause skills in the family. And this time the woman is not the problem. Insecure men. Because we taught the boys the wrong thing. So they now cannot accept a woman who works. I've just produced a new book called, I call it The Christian Man. Next time you are near Scripture Union Bookshop, try to pick a copy. The Christian Man. One chapter is how to handle the empowered wife. Because they are there, isn't it? And the younger you are, the more likely it is that your wife will be empowered. So you need to come to where, as we teach you as a boy, that you do not have to earn more than your wife. All you need is to be working hard. And the two are not the same. Am I right? Yes. So all you need is that you are working hard. And if you are working hard and your wife is earning more, which is my third point, please understand that the Bible says the two shall become one. Some people think becoming one is a bedroom matter. But becoming one is also a financial matter. There is no money for the husband and there is no money for the wife. Both of them now have one because the two shall become one. So you are one financially, you are one socially, and you are one physically. So what that means then, when God decides to bless the family, it is his choice whether to use the woman or the man. If he chooses to bless your family through your wife, as a husband, why should you be insecure? Why should you fight your wife? Because a lot of those men, when that happens, become violent. And they start beating up their wives because the wife is earning more. You hear your wife is becoming the ambassador of Kenya to Japan, you tell her, over a dead body. Instead of celebrating your wife by her promotion, which will now make the family get more money, you are fighting it. Have you heard of such men? Yes. We should say shame on them. Because God cannot be commanded by you. He can decide to bless the family you through your wife. And when he does, you should rejoice. So if, for example, your wife becomes the ambassador of Kenya's ambassador to Japan, and I hear they are paid a lot of money, just drop your job, go to Japan and become a house husband. What is house husband? You have no job because I hear if you are the spouse or ambassador, you will not be given a work permit. But because you want to be a good father to your children who have gone to Japan, you will go there. And the money you earn, the way you earn is enough to cover both of you. That is certainly not Kikuyu tradition. The Kema people will be opposed. But the Christians know he said the two shall become one. And it means it's possible. It's possible to have a good family even when the wife is the one who is providing. A lot of people, their marriages break up the moment. In fact, there was a saying not too long ago that every Kenyan woman who rises, she only rises after kicking away the husband. You find a lot of our ministers, a lot of our MPs, check. They are no longer with the husband that married them when they left school. And the problem is not necessarily the woman. It's the insecure man. So afraid of a successful woman, they cannot relate well. So I'm here to challenge us that if we truly are Christian men, we will still know how to handle the empowered woman by accepting that you are running the family together and God can bless the family through either of the people that we have in mind. And that will be something that you have to ask yourself, is that something you are doing, or is it something you are deciding you want to follow the Kikuyu belief system? You do not want to. Let me tell you, if you are a real man, I've listed a few things that tell you are a real Christian man. Number one, you have a heart, a head, and conscience. If you are a real man, a heart to love your family, a head to think ahead for your family. Are we together? And a conscience that makes you not use your strength in a wrong way. That's how a Christian man is. He is a thinker. He is thinking ahead for the family. But he also has a heart. He is able to accommodate his children and actually love them. Number two, and I think that will be important for us to say, not only are we talking about you and being a man who is able to think. If you're a Christian man, you work on your relationship with the people around you, such as your children, your wife, and your colleagues. You cannot call yourself a Christian man when your wife is terrorized. You arrive home, and I know when you grew up in the 1950s, there was a lot of violence. Your father arrives home and you wait under the bed. But that's not a Christian man. That may be a Kikuyu man, but not a Christian man. If you're a Christian man, your children should jump on you. When you arrive home, they are friends with you. And I'll be coming back to that subject of friendship. Your wife should look forward and miss you. I've written a book on friendship, and I quote a Kikuyu saying in it, Dogo ni makinya, In other words, if you don't miss each other, you don't have friendship. Friendship you need to create in your family, where when you are away, they miss you. But in many homes, when you are away, they celebrate. Because you are a terrorist at home. Among men, you look very nice until you arrive home, and you become a terrorist. We are saying, we came here to tell young boys and older men, that's not a Christian man. God will not be happy with you if that's the kind of thing you are involved in. My prayer is that God will help you to see it. Number 3, whether you are single or married, a real man controls his passions. You see, boys, are you listening to me, boys? Yeah. If you come from the village, you'll understand my example. When a cow is on heat, it's a difficult time for a shepherd. It will jump over the fence to go and look for the necessary service. My friend, some men are like cows on heat. The difference between a man and a cow is that even if he is on heat, he controls himself. He is not a cow. Are we together? So it's important for you as a boy. Don't say, I'm a boy, I'm hot. Yes, you are hot. That's a gift of God. But if you truly are a Christian man, God has given you ability to control yourself. Are we together? That's what it means. That means you can see a cow. Beautiful. But she doesn't want to talk to you. My friend, leave her alone. Wow. Because although you are feeling like, if she doesn't want you, you don't force yourself on her because you are not a cow. You are a human being. Don't behave like a cow. So it's important to understand you refuse certain things. Some cows will come your way, and some of them are having a dress that is too low from above and too high from below. And you as a boy, you wonder what to do. You look up, they are still there. My friend, the Bible teaches us, self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. And you need to understand, if you train a Christian boy, you will not do what you feel like doing. You will do the right thing. Because a Christian man is able to control his passion. It will be the same thing with us men. Your wife will say something rude. It will embarrass you. And you know very well we agreed you are strong. If you hate your wife, you are out of control. And loss of temper is one of the worst things. Many marriages are being broken because of violence. Earlier you could have beaten and nothing happened. Now once he reports you in the police, you'll be locked up. Am I right? Yes. And you'll be saying the police are bad. You are the one with the problem. When your wife was rude, why didn't you walk away? Because until your temper comes down, the wisdom, assuming you are what I'm describing, a Christian man, wisdom is control yourself, move aside, until her temper comes down, you ask it down and you can ask Daddy, what were you talking about? And deal with it. So when you talk about control of passions, it means, and you need to understand as men, if since you married your wife, you are beating her, it just means there's something animal-like in you. A Christian man can never lay his hands on a woman for 3 reasons. The Bible doesn't allow it. Number 2, you know you are stronger. So if you beat her, you prove nothing. Even Olympic knew you cannot go to boxing between men and. So why were you trying to beat up your wife? Number 3, we learn, and Kikuyus, it's a Kikuyu saying, I'm quoting, and it says, Muikatoneke hoto. The young people not know, but the old ones will know. Muikatoneke hoto. That's your kaka. Are there old men here? Muikatoneke hoto. What does that mean? That if you're a Christian man, instead of becoming violent with your wife and your children, you talk to them and convince them. See, after all, you are older and you are the leader, isn't it? Yes. Talk to them. Let them understand the reasoning. And according to that, Kikuyu saying, once your son understands why it is wrong to do what you are telling him, he will never do it. But if you beat him, he'll just try to do it without, he'll still do it when you cannot catch him. Am I right? Yes. So it's not wisdom. I'm now talking to my Wazee friends. It's a sign of lack of proper manhood for you to be violent with your children and to be violent with your wife. However, please be careful. The Bible teaches us, children, obey your parents. It also says, do not spare a rod, because then you'll spoil the child. So disciplining small children is a biblical requirement. But by the time your son becomes a teenager, he's not a child. He's somebody you can discuss with. Are we together? So instead of saying, you are going to do law, why? I said so. That's a sign of a man who has a problem. You cannot talk to an adult. The other day, when somebody actually went and did law, after he graduated, he gave a certificate to the father and said, "You wanted it. Yeah, let me now go and do history." It needs to be understood that we cannot call ourselves Christian men when we are using violence in order to handle our children and our wives. Instead, discuss, agree. And if you are not being understood, that's why we have PCMF. PCMF is you can call another man to come to your family and talk to your son. So that if there is something you are not understanding, your PCMF friend can help you. PCMF leaders, am I right? That's why PCMF exists. But to turn up beating up a grown-up child, it's evil. You talk to them. You don't beat them. And you know these days, they may turn around and the boy may be only 17. And if he turns around, he'll knock you down. Because I'm over 70 myself. But even if I was 40, a girl 17 is stronger. Am I right? So what are you doing? Don't use violence. Find a way of debating and reasoning with your son. And the mother is even worse to imagine that you can actually be beating the mother. Why? When you beat the mother, it's not just the mother who is hurt. The children are hurt, isn't it? In fact, the sign that you love your son is to love your mother. The more you trouble the mother, the more your son feels insecure. Am I right? So the sign of a good Christian man is that they talk, they reason, with their children, and that doesn't mean some children will not be wayward. But let them understand why what they are doing is not right, and it needs to be dealt with. You know, if you are a Christian man, you don't abuse women or children. Instead, you actually protect them. If you are a Christian man, you keep your hands off your wife. But even more importantly, a Christian man, like I said a little earlier, does not handle other women as if they are his wife. Do you see men in the office who call the secretary my darling? She's not your darling, she's your secretary. Call her by the right name. And some of those girls take you seriously. And after taking you seriously, soon your marriage is destroyed. Am I right? And you may think the girl is only the age of your daughter. But did you remember a guy who was a president of America and was almost removed out of office by a small intern girl? Do you know the name of the man? Do you know the name of the man? I'm not naming him. But that man could be you. When you do not know that the moment God gave you a wife, it was a way of keeping you away from all the others. For 3 reasons. Number 1, well, you are not forced to marry. See, you chose to marry. That means you knew there were many women, some taller than your wife. But you chose this one. Number 2, you agreed to repeat what the pastor said. He said that in fact he asked you a question, will you leave all others? Those of you who are married, is that what we say? Is that what we say? Now how can you say that before God? And then you are running around with your secretary or with your workmate. And you know these days, men are not the one to blame. It is these girls who are trying to reach you. Am I right? So, it's important as a mature man, do not encourage that behavior. Let the girl know you are proudly married. And if you are having a quarrel with your wife, You cannot make a girl in the office a counselor. Am I communicating? Oh, you know, we are really going through problem with my wife. That's a way of saying come in. In other words, I'm available. So it's important to understand if you are going to have a Christian, to be a Christian man, you must keep off all other women and stay with yours. But you are saying, Mr. Nanga, what about if it's difficult? Even if she is difficult, she is yours, isn't it? Some of you may have married a lioness. You didn't know, but now you know it's a lioness. But if the lady at the Archer's Post, remember there was a lady at Archer's Post who kept lions and domesticated them. Real lions. Now, you can also domesticate yours. So if your wife is a lioness, please try to domesticate and ask God for prayer. But don't start moving around. It is wrong. Wrong because you are disobeying God, but also wrong because it's going to destroy. A study was done recently, although it was not done in Kenya, and it showed that 60% of all people in jail came from families that were unstable. In other words, you may think you are quarreling with the mother, but you are planting your children at the direction of going to prison. And it's not that you yourself are prison-minded, but you created instability in the family, and that's what finally it ended up doing. And it's something you need to ask yourself, is that what you are doing? You see, so therefore what I'm saying is that if you are a Christian man, the real man, you must of necessity keep off your hands from other women who are not your wife. Number two, you must treat your wife with love, respect, and dignity. You can't treat your wife, the mother of your children, like she is a house girl of the family. You need to give her dignity. If you don't think the way how she is dressing is good, buy her the right dress. Instead of running to other women, dress yours. If you think her perfume is not as good as the secretary's, you also have money. Go and buy the perfume. So we are saying you need to show love and concern for your. You can't call yourself a man when you are not spending time treating your wife with love, respect, and dignity. And if you're a Christian man, you keep your eyes off pornographic images. Even small boys now they have access to the phone. They are starting to watch pornography. What's pornography?
What?
Pornography is enjoying sex without doing sex. I'm getting the point. Jesus said, if a man looks at a woman with lust, he has not even talked to her. He has not even slept with her. The Bible doesn't say that that person has been tempted. It actually says he has already committed adultery. So all people who watch pornography are adulterers. Not according to me, according to Jesus. Because we are looking at that picture in order to enjoy sex without sex. And the Bible is saying when you lust, you are committing adultery. And there are consequences. Young people, please hear me. There is no way you will do pornography within no time doing masturbation. And masturbation is having sex with yourself. That's what masturbation is. You want to enjoy sex without a woman. That is called masturbation. And you need to understand, anytime you don't get married in order to enjoy sex, you are doing it outside God's plan, you are booking a place in hell. So masturbation and pornography are a sign you are out of control and that you are planning to go to hell. So whether you are a boy or you are, but let me tell you now the sociological consequences of pornography and masturbation is that when you get married, you have got so used to having sex with yourself that your wife cannot satisfy you. And many women are complaining. They are married. Their husband is not a homosexual, but because he does it on his own, she is left unprovided for in the bedroom. How could you call yourself a Christian? And the one job nobody else can do, you are unable to do because of pornography and masturbation. We came to talk as men. That's why we said women should not be here. So that's why I'm being frank. I can't talk like this if there are women. But it needs to be understood. As a young boy, you must decide, I will not watch pornography because it is going to spoil my future marriage. Because once I'm used to pornography, I will no longer be able to have and enjoy sex with my wife. This year, I've dealt with several young men, university students, who are telling me they started masturbation pornography when they were in, one of them told me in standard 6, the other one in form 2. Now they are university students, and they say, like one of the university I spoke to not too long ago, he wrote to me and said, help me. I've tried every way to stop masturbation. I am totally addicted. And it all began by watching pornography, led to masturbation, and now he is addicted. Once you are addicted, will your classwork be okay? Will your classwork be okay? No. And it all began then. That's why if you're a Christian man, that is the area you must. And you need to understand this. Like I normally tell people, sex is not oxygen. With oxygen, if you don't get oxygen, you'll die in 4 minutes. Am I right? Or sex, you can stay without sex for the next 50 years. And you'll still be a normal man. Am I communicating? So if your wife is being difficult, that's not a reason for you to go to other women. Am I communicating? You can wait until the matters are resolved. Anyway, I have to finish so that we can go through the discussion time. I'm saying a Christian man protects single women so that they can go to the wedding as virgins and innocent. Can you imagine as a young man, if you don't get involved in sex, the biggest gift you give to your wife is innocence and virginity. I don't know whether men are called virgins, but whatever they are. And that, I can tell you, helps your marriage. When both of you are virgins and you learn together the bedroom matters, it enriches your bedroom. When one of you has been running around, they spend time comparing their wife with other women, whether prostitute or not. In the process, you don't enjoy bedroom matters. You need to understand that the biggest gift you can give your girlfriend is not to touch any woman until after the wedding day. Are we together? And you need to understand, sleeping with a woman before the pastor declares you man and wife. Even if you have paid the votes, even if you have paid dowry, until if you are a Christian, no elder or clansman or Kema person can marry you. Only a pastor can. Where do I get that? Jesus. He said, let what God has joined together, no man separate. So the only one who allowed to join couples is a man of God on behalf of Jesus Christ. And so it's important to understand that if you ever get involved earlier, there will be problems between you and God. And it will be important that you ask yourself, is that something you are doing? Let me also say as I finish, as a Christian man, you will not be defined by your exploits or what you did with women or did to yourself below the waist. You will control yourself. And I hope that is something that you have come out clear. I've run out of time, but I want to say 4 things. If you are going to relate well with your son, number 1, you must make friendship with him. He must stop being a son to becoming a friend. Are we together? And friendship is difficult work. Friendship is not automatic. Your son is your son. We can prove it with DNA. For him to become your friend, you have to befriend him. Are we together? Yes. And that's one of the things I want old men to live knowing. It's hard work. Many children are your sons, but they are not your friends. I'm not talking to young people. Your father can be your father without being your friend. Am I right? That can be proved by DNA. But for him to become your friend, you must start befriending your father. Are we together? Yeah, don't make your father a bank. Just go to him for money. Why can't you tell him what you like about him? Some of you sons, you only talk to the father when he's more of a bank than a father. I am telling young people, if you want to enjoy your life, you must convert your father from just being a father to becoming a friend. You know, parents, the moment your relationship with your children is as a bank. When you now reach my age and the children are out of home, every time you call them, they will ask you, hey, you have run out of money. Can I invest in? Because they don't think you're interested in them. The same way they used to come to you for money, you think now they also think you are coming to them for money. And old age can be very lonely when the only language is money. And all because when you are younger, you terrorize your children. When they become adults, they still support you financially, but they want little to do with you. Am I communicating? If you want to enjoy your old age, spend the time, especially with these teenagers, spend the time creating friendship. You can pick my book on friendship because I've made several suggestions. But my second point is, friendship is not permanent. This is my second point. We can be friends this week. Next week we are not friends. So do not think, but I made him a friend. I had somebody say, somebody was asked, do you tell your wife you love her? Why? I told her on the wedding day. Now you need to understand, if you are going to be friends, it has to be continuous work. Are we together? So don't say last year we did. What are you doing this week in order to create a friendship? My third point in finishing. The language of friendship is time. Dogoneke. I'm assuming you know some Kikuyu. Dogoneke. Makinya. What does that mean? That you have to create time. When you have no time for your children, even if you are paying all the bills, the message is you don't value them. You must find a way of cancelling an office appointment in order to be with your children. And when they see the sacrifice you have done in order to be available to them, the message they get is love. Because the language of love is time, availability. The same thing you use sons. You call a son, especially teenagers. But I have to remember because my last born is already over 40. But I still remember when they are teenagers. You say, they come and they say, Papa, what did you want? Oh, can you give me that pen? Yes. And they go away. They are not creating friendship. Friendship is time. You must be available to your father. You must tell, according to my book, there are 3 words that are very important. I call them friendship words. Please, don't demand things from your father as if he owes you. He doesn't. There are many fathers who dump their children. They are still fathers. So your father must be approached with respect. So whatever it is you are saying, tell him, start with the word, please. What does please mean? I agree, I can't force you. So if you do it, I'll be very happy and I'll know you love me. The other word is the word sorry. Sorry means you understand your weakness as a father. Especially good fathers. They hardly ever say sorry to their wives or to their children. Is it because they never do anything wrong? They answer me. Is it, do fathers do some things wrong? Because they are human beings. So how come in the last 1 month, you have not told your wife sorry? You have not told your son sorry? The language of love is sorry. What does sorry mean? I value you so much that I regret having hurt you. That's what the meaning of the word sorry. And so if you don't say sorry to people, your friendship will not happen. And without friendship, your relationship will be a problem. And without good relationship, you will not enjoy your life. The final word. I've told you please. I've told you sorry. The final word is thank you. What does thank you mean? I'm not taking you for granted. You know, some of you, I still remember, I used to work for Shell before I retired. And I still remember interviewing interviewing a young man as an accountant. And he was already CPA qualified at the age of 22. So in the interviewing panel, the managers were interviewing him, were very impressed that he could actually pass all CPA by that age. So I remember us asking him, hey, you must be grateful to your father who was willing to pay that fee. He said, no, it was not my father. It's my older brother who paid. So I asked him, did you tell him thank you? You know what the young man told me? Why tell him thank you? Even himself, his fees was paid by my father. What was it? The boy is telling the panel, because he doesn't know us, that he is not grateful. It was the brother's responsibility to pay his school fees. Your guess. Do you think we gave him a job? No. Because we asked ourselves, when he left, we gave ourselves. Is there any, when you keep paying him a salary, he'll not be happy. Why? I deserve it. My friend, if you don't know how to say thank you, what is thank you? I knew you could have refused to do it. The fact that you did it for my benefit, I'm very grateful. The moment you don't know how to say thank you to your wife, their wives will never cook. Their wives, you ask for tea, they say the kitchen is over there. You asked made tea, okay, it didn't taste very nicely, but he made it. You must learn to say thank you. And thank you, people enjoy being told thank you. So the more you say thank you, the more you'll get goodies from your father, or from your son, or from your wife. That's how to be a Christian man. Of course, I can't cover a whole book in one session. But I want to allow time for questions, then we can have a further discussion. But before then, may I pray. Lord Jesus, all of us are men, and we want to be Christian men who honor God. Because we are a PCMF people. We are Christian men. Lord, forgive us where we have not done right things. But my prayer is that you help us, after forgiving us, to start pulling in the right direction. And in that way, setting a good example for our wives and children. And give